Are you ready? Let's do it. Hey everybody, Dana Zezzo, Senior Vice President of Sales for Jetline. This is really cool. I had an opportunity to sit down with quickly becoming a very, very good friend, Kirby. This is going to be great. You know, I have a pretty big group that follows my social network, and you know, as passionate as I am about social media, that all roots back to my passion for swag.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's the bottom line.
Right.
So I would not be in the position I am in the social networking front that I've taken without it rooting back to something,
Absolutely.
which for me was always a way to perpetuate promotional products. So for all the viewers out there today, they're going to catch this. You're going to see tidbits, you know, over the next given time frame that are going to be some different questions talking about Kirby, about his new book, Marketing Joy. Hold that bad boy up, because it's got such a good, look at that right there. We're going to talk about the book a little bit and really dive in there and get up in your head and figure out what you're thinking.
Yeah, it's scary, it's scary, but it sounds great.
Sound like a plan?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, so those of you that are watching, if you have an aha moment at any given time, please use the hashtag MarketingJoy or hashtag GetSocial, and then both of our communities and our networks will get to ride along and enjoy whatever fun experience or questions you might have about the interview that you want to route back to Kirby or myself. So hashtag hashtag Marketing Joy. All right, so Kirby, got a few questions here on my little iPad.
Absolutely.
So let's dive into the first one. In the book, you mentioned that we're entering a give first economy. Expand on that. What are you thinking there? What's going on?
So I think that since the beginning of time, marketing has kind of been a push play. You know, you push out your message as much as you can, whether it's through TV, radio, email, whatever. And so that's just been the history of the way marketing has worked. And I think that we're living through a shift into a little bit more of a pull economy, where we need to, as business owners, marketers, CEOs, we need to provide value first. This has started, quite frankly, with the social, where the power is much more back in the consumer's hands. Okay. And it's one of those where it's actually created a little bit more of a small town community, because the consumer actually has a lot more power in the transaction, because if it doesn't go well, they have an audience that they can share it with. If it does go well, they have an audience they can share.
But we're seeing all these review type stuff
Totally.
on websites where we're seeing people posting stuff. I mean, the world really is in the consumer's hands now.
Absolutely. And so if you want to be, I think successful businesses need to provide value. They can do that through social, where they provide articles that might be interesting to their audience. It might funny joke, video, something that explains something. But the other thing is, on the other side of that, promotional products really lend themselves perfectly to a give first economy, because you are, by its very essence,
are you saying everybody loves a free T-shirt?
That's, well, of course, everybody does love a free T-shirt.
I want the T-shirt that says everybody loves a free T-shirt.
Yeah, that's right. But you're giving. I mean, you know what I mean? That is sort of the point. You are providing value to a prospect or a customer first, and then, oh, by the way, it adds lasting value, because that everybody loves a free T-shirt is something that's going to be worn over and over again. So actually, I think social, your audience, and certainly the promotional products community should really be excited about the idea that we're entering this give first economy.
So the examples of that push in, you know, billboard, radio, TV, advertising in its traditional form, which would be yellow pages, right?
Right.
So you're saying they were just push?
Yes, absolutely. They're just throwing your message out, and the person who has the most money and the person who can do it the most times wins, because they can just kind of perpetuate that. They can push the hardest. Now, clients, customers, prospects have the ability to say, you know what, I'm not interested in that. I'm going to unfollow you, or I'm going to write a negative review, or I'm going to do whatever. They have more power, and so you need to provide value.
So I'll give you an interesting example, and this is where I knew that interviewing would be so fun. And tell me if this ties into this. So Jetline has a strategy that we want to get more people to understand what we do.
Right.
So on our Facebook page only, and then we kind of support it through a tweet or something else, or an Instagram or something like that, we'll do a sample giveaway. to with a particular item, and we'll say we have 25 or 35 of them. And the irony is that they will be gone in about 7 to 15 minutes.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And the reps are amazed by it. And if you go back, everyone wants ROI. The ROI on the social side, if you look at the analytics, is that our normal exposure and impression rate, will run 15 to 2,000-ish a day, and it'll jump to 4 to 45, 4,700 impressions when we do a giveaway. So is this a good example of where we could where a brand could give to have you experience them?
Absolutely, and I'd say yes, it's a great example. And so, and it's an interesting thing. I actually have a chapter in the book about combining the power of social and promo, and that's a great example because it's interesting. The detractors, I think you and I have talked about this in the past, where I say the detractors of social and the detractors of promo. It's always interesting to me because they are non-believers for the exact opposite reason, right? Because social is too new. Promo is too old. Both of whom are perfect. Both of these.
So on average,
they're perfect, right? Yeah. But you put the two together, and they really have a lot of power in this give first economy because you're providing value, and then you are creating a long-term impression from that quick burst from social. Now you've added the lasting impression with the promo, and you've created a connection within that customer. It's big power.
There's statistics out too that say that someone likes a fan page or a business page. I mean, there's a ton of different words for it. If someone likes that brand, that there's like 18% higher percentage of a secondary purchase from that brand. The stats are starting to come out.
Yeah.
So again, it goes back to even the give first to get the like.
Yes.
Because if you play the statistics right, it probably will work out for you mathematically down the road.
It will, and I think it's interesting because every advertiser is looking for ROI, and we all should.
Right.
But I think it's interesting that we ask social is like, what's the ROI? What's the ROI? Promo, what's the ROI? But I don't think traditionally we're saying, hey, what's the ROI of that billboard?
Right.
Why aren't we asking the same questions of traditional?
Well, they'll give you how
marketing?
many people drive down the freeway,
which is
which
crap.
I don't. How many people look up?
Yeah, right.
And
to quote Gary Vaynerchuk, who's one of I love listening to him. He's like, 60% of the people aren't looking at that billboard; they're looking at their phone while they're driving. So so it's scary.
Right.
But the just by saying, and then the other piece of that is how many people within the billboard driving area are actually potential customers for you at all.
Right.
Social and promo both have the opportunity to reach directly into the people you want to reach. So, yeah.
Excellent. All right, that's good stuff. So I like to give first, and I agree. I mean, I have 3 daughters, and you have very active daughters, and you could just sense the way they interact with a brand is very different, and they're very conscious of the brands that do something good for the world. Have you noticed that?
Yes, that's a big thing with millennials. Absolutely.
It's awesome.
It's one of the things. I actually was listening to an interview last night, and they talk about, most businesses are really good at telling you what they do and sometimes even how they do it. What they're not good at is telling them who they are and why they do what they do. And those are the things that are really important to just about anybody. Really important to millennials.
Yeah, my kids are very dialed into the brands of today and what their causes are. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
All right, so let's dive into another one. And you kind of touched on it there and that a little bit, but we're in the promo industry, and our audience is probably mostly going to be people from the promo industry. I mean, what's your take on the promo versus the other forms of media?
Yeah. Well, I have a whole chapter in the book that compares the media based on studies and different things like that. And I always try to couch it by saying, look, I'm not suggesting that you say, okay, we're going to throw out all billboards, throw out all TV. I think kind of from, I guess to back up, I always say that we have sort of an inferiority complex as an industry, right? Because people will call it trinkets and trash, and I think it devalues what we do.
Right.
All I'm saying is, if you look at the numbers, promo compares very favorably to all traditional media. It just needs to be a part of the mix. Right. So and you can do give first with those other traditional media too. If you build the whole campaign to make it interesting, to make it valuable. To get down to the question, if you look at, you kind of want to measure any advertising thing, you want to look at reach, recall, and reaction. You want to see how many people you reach.
Right.
You want to see if at the end of the day they remember what the hell you just said.
Right.
And when they go to make a purchase, do they remember you? And then to me, the holy grail is reaction. After they see your ad, after they get your t-shirt, after they see your post, do they actually react? Do they call you? Do they reach out? And that's where reach, quite frankly, I mean, promo, to have massive reach, that needs to partner with a major marketing area like TV or something like that. Right. That will help increase the reach. But then when you get to the two that I think really matter, which are recall, well, you get a promotional product, studies say between 80 and 90% of people remember
the brand that's on the promotional
huge.
Product.
Yeah, 8 out of 9
That's the
people.
PPI statistics.
That's
right,
correct.
right.
That's correct. And ASI. There's actually 3 different studies.
Okay.
The lowest one is 83%. Those are huge numbers. And then the reaction piece, which is the one that really goes to it, 14.7% of people who receive a promotional product actually then reach out to 14.7. I think that's 3 times higher than any other media. So what the lesson really is combine the power of
the 3.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
So that you can really.
It's like investments, right?
Yeah.
Your portfolio.
Yeah, that's a great point.
Have a smart book of investments, because it's all going to average its way to the plus side when you're done.
That's right. I like that.
Now, it's interesting. You made the comment about the trinkets and trash and the devalue, but the irony is, if you go to we're sitting right now in the state of Ohio, and we have great brands like Schmuckers and Bob Evans, or some major iconic brands of Ohio. And it's funny, if you go to those brands and to their location and they tell you the history using promotional products.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. So if you go to their museums or go to their places and walk through and understand the the landmark, they put the push pin in it campaign was most likely related to a promotional product.
That's really cool. And
So
it speaks to the relevance.
Go to museums. I think at PPI they have a museum there at the headquarters in Texas that talks about the history of the promotional product. But think of major brands like Coke, and think of Red Bull and and when we're done and our kids are growing up and they go back to see the brand Red Bull. I mean, there's pretty iconic swag that has led to the branding of Red Bull.
Absolutely.
So
and Red Bull gets it. They get it for sure.
All those young new brands like Red Bull, Dr. Pepper, the Mountain Dew. Dr. Pepper's done a good job of just keeping himself current.
Right.
But Mountain Dew, and now you got Monster. Look at Monster from a swag perspective on the race scene. They've come in, they've made a play into truck racing, motocross, ATV, and look, all the kids.
Yeah.
And you wonder why they're selling so many drinks.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's a great point.
Significant people wearing a lot of branding.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and that's part of what tells their story.
Yeah,
for sure.
And it's I love it. They've entrenched themselves into the target market that they want to be in.
Yeah, absolutely.
They know who their audience is.
And again, that goes back to targeting. So yeah,
Right.
I agree. Yeah,
Very good stuff. Okay. Let's just let's go 30,000 feet here. What the heck made you write a book? I mean, I swore I'd never write a book.
Okay.
Because
and you've succeeded.
I have to this point, but you've given me a guilt complex. Well, on my social tour, speaking all around the country to the industry and a little bit out industry, I'm just a small town kid from Asheville, Ohio, that got lucky and made it, had some breaks in life. And I always looked up at the people who wrote these books, and they got all this kind of what I call false play for how they got speaking engagements and stuff. And I always said, I'm going to make it without writing a book.
Yeah.
So now you're making me challenge my my vow, because I see a real guy with a real heart and a real family and a real career and a real passion for our industry write a book that is very enlightening.
Oh, thank you.
Why did you do it?
It goes back to what I said a little bit earlier, where I talked about our industry. I think sometimes has a little bit of an inferiority complex, and I saw a sort of what I felt was a trend of whether it's politicians, legislators, other famous folks kind of detracting from our industry, and doing so in just sort of flippant, without any real thought. One of the ones, Mark Cuban, who I really like, wrote.
You wrote that blog.
Yeah, I did. I wrote a blog talking about why he was wrong about swag. He wrote 12 rules.
From the guy who goes through a lot of swag.
Yeah, right.
It's kind of ironic.
Yeah, it is a little bit. And so, but I like Mark Cuban, and I respect his opinion. But I read this 12 rules for startups, and one of them, number 7 or 8 or something like that, was don't buy swag. And his whole point was, well, I know that somebody's gone off the tracks with managing their money when somebody sends me a golf shirt with their logo on it. And I'm like, I said, okay, but what you're saying is, okay, you want to do promo smart. It's a lot like saying, well, my buddy bought a Hummer and went broke, so nobody should ever buy cars.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's just not taking away, those stats we talked about earlier when it comes to recall and reaction. By telling people not to do that, you're doing them a disservice.
Right.
And so between them and or Mr. Cuban and then the politicians who use promotional products to get elected and then tell the folks with underneath
the normal
them,
people.
Yeah, the normal folks, they tell them, oh, well, you can't have promo in your budget now because that's a waste of money. But
Right.
here's a button. Can you please vote for me?
And a yard sign.
Yeah,
And a yard
that's
sign
right.
out.
Yeah, so I kind of inspired me to say, okay, you know what? It would be really cool for us to have a book that kind of spoke to the real dynamics of promo, why people should use it, and then I reached out to people like you and other great folks in the industry and said, okay, let's talk to how too, right?
Right.
Let's just create some case studies that say, okay, so you should do it. Now let's dig into, here's some case studies of how different nonprofits, businesses, insurance companies, whatever, have used it to grow their business. And so that's not only the why, but also the how.
So, I think you would agree, and we've had many side conversations preparing for this interview. I think the thing that gets me frustrated is the hits we take, especially legislator. Thank goodness we have some people out there way smarter than me fighting the fight.
Yeah,
I mean, I'll get out there and scrap physically, but I can't take you on in a debate. But, I think people take the ROI too far.
Right.
For example, I mean, Jetline, we're trying to rebuild a culture at Jetline. It's been a fast-growing company. It went through a significant move. We're trying to get people to work together. I mean, we use swag internally. Matter of fact, we have a huge T-shirt. I hate to keep referring to the T-shirt. You're welcome, T-shirt guys. But it's hard to give someone at Jetline a stress ball. It just doesn't kind of work.
Yeah, right.
But we're using the T-shirt to build teamwork, and they want them, and they want to wear the shirt that has the Jetline branding on it and a saying on the back or years of service and stuff. We're not looking to, ROI is not, this better grow Jetline $1 million.
Right.
We have a simple goal,
Yes.
which is to get people to work together and want to enjoy the place they work.
Absolutely.
I think too often we get shoved into this bucket associated with sales.
Right.
Like
No,
top
that's
line
great.
revenue, and that's not it. Sometimes is the event have, is there a theme to the event? Was there a culture that was trying to be built? Was there a small little mindset that you wanted people to take away, and the promotional product catapulted that?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's funny because honestly, where the term delivering marketing joy came from was really from conversations we had around our company, where we're like, you know what, if we do our job right, and the T-shirts, to keep the metaphor going, if they arrive, it's like opening the box. It's a little tiny piece of Christmas morning, right?
Oh, big time.
Right? And so you open it up, and where we really, that came true was from our customer appreciation show, where we start, we deliver said marketing joy all the time, but it was being delivered to us, and all these boxes were showing up right before the show, and we sell this for a living every day. We see this stuff every single day, and every time a box came in, everybody came around. It was like, oh, I wonder what it's, this is great. And so it built, just as you say, I don't know how you put a number on that, but it made everybody in our office excited about the event. It gave us a new way to promote the event through social and through other ways. Hey, look, we're going to have this really cool stuff. And then it drives. I could probably draw the line, but it's really it's one of these lines.
Yeah, it's
right?
all over the place.
But it builds camaraderie. It builds brand long term.
Sense of community in this term of corporate community.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which is critical in today's retention.
Absolutely, and I guess tangentially, I'd say it's interesting. Another corollary, I think, sometimes is social and promo are also sometimes long-term investments. I tell people all the time when I'm talking to them about social, you got to think long-term.
Right.
You're building relationships. That doesn't happen overnight. It's not like a cocktail party that you're trying to take a girl home right away.
Right.
This is one of those things you're trying to build a 10-year client. Social's great for that. Promo's also great for that.
Right.
So whether it's building a client or building a great employee relationship, promo is perfect to do that.
Oh, I absolutely, I agree. So the book is out.
Yes.
It's on Amazon.
It is, yes.
Right?
Mhm.
So people can do
Yeah.
what? What can people do to get hold of it?
Yeah, so if you just go to Amazon and search "Delivering Marketing Joy," it's out there. You can get actually a physical book, or I know you're more of an ebook kind of guy.
Yeah.
So they're both available. It's actually interesting though. You might appreciate
Did you
this.
do one that I can listen to yet?
Not yet. I'm working on
called?
that. An audiobook.
Audiobook.
Yeah,
You gotta do
right.
an audiobook
Yeah.
for a dumb guy like me.
Well, and I tell you, it's
I
funny.
sit on
We have the
airplane.
technology, right?
Yeah, you do.
Yeah. That can be down the road for sure.
Your magical voice reading me that book. That would
Put you to
make it
sleep.
so special.
Yeah, just for you. I'll just do one.
Don't worry,
just for
I'm
you.
in.
Yeah. Well, but it's interesting because and you might appreciate this, is actually physical books are currently outselling ebooks, which I did not, you can get a Kindle
Really?
version, whatever, but yeah, we're actually selling more
Physical books.
which is, I thought was interesting.
That's very cool.
Yeah,
Very cool.
so, anyway.
The world goes around and round and
Yeah,
round.
that's right.
All right. Next question.
Yeah.
So, when we talked about, when you told me you first were going to write the book, it's interesting because both of us play in a very obscure marketing world in the sense that we have to market on different layers because, B2B, B2C,
Yeah.
in my case, I have to create marketing that I'm marketing to you that then is potentially picked up, maybe dressed up, changed, and then marketed to the end user. So it is a challenging marketing thing.
Yeah.
So in that task of looking for, who's it going to, the question that I thought of was, and when we talked about it, kind of surprised me, who'd you write the book for?
Yeah. Oh, great question. Really, it's interesting because people in our industry are buying it, and I appreciate that. But the book is written for the end user. So the idea being,
I think that would surprise a lot of people.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, but the whole idea was I want, and it goes back to that original discussion about why I wrote it. I want end users, the people who are making marketing decisions, budget marketing decisions, those sort of things, to have a better understanding of why they should be using promo and how to better, like if they've used it in the past and it hasn't worked.
Right.
It's that great metaphor, like they say, well, I tried it and it didn't work. Well, a lot of times it isn't, just because you can't put the ball in the basket doesn't mean basketball's broken. It means you didn't do it right. Right? So that's the same thing with social and promo.
Okay.
So it's one of those where the idea was to put this in the hands of the end user to say, look, not only are the things we're telling you true, there's documented studies and all these things that go with it, but hey, here's some ideas on how you can do your next trade show, your next direct mail piece. How can you utilize this and make each one of your campaigns successful?
You're fighting the fight for like 100,000 sales reps.
That's right. Well, and I tell you,
That's a pretty impressive task that you've taken on.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Well, it's funny because that's one of the reasons I was really cognizant of trying to include other distributors' case studies, because I don't want this to be this particular project. Obviously, I'm a distributor. I want all the business I can get.
So you really didn't write the book about your company.
Yeah, that's right. I think there's one case study from me just because I felt it was an appropriate piece, but there's case studies from Halo, I Promote You, Brand Fuel, and several Common SKU, some other distributors that I wanted to be a part of the process because I didn't want people to just go, oh, well, that's just Kirby's pet project. I want it to be about the industry and put it in the hands of the end user.
So there's no doubt that you wrote the book to help end users get their head around the value of our medium.
That's exactly right.
Awesome. All right. Next question. We'll keep rolling.
Yeah.
I'm trying to put some interesting breaks in between there. So I'm thinking of the editing.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's
great.
behind the scenes stuff there.
Yeah, that's.
I know it when I did an interview before, or did it video before. I kept during each session would refer to other sessions. Finally, the guy pulled me aside saying, yeah, you need to give me a little more clean break because I'm going to cut this stuff up and then they're not going to.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm working for you here.
Yeah, that's context. Context.
All right. We talked about this right before we sat down, and this is something where you're starting to derive, your own theories. You say that there are 3 R's of business.
Yeah.
And then you expand them in the book. So let's talk about those. What are the 3 R's in your opinion of business?
Yeah, it was funny, you guys. This is one of those things as you're just sitting in a dark room at night typing on a computer that the read and write and arithmetic comes to mind, and it's one of those where retention, repeat, and referrals.
Okay.
And candidly, that's in Promo's wheelhouse.
Right.
So when you speak to retention, 69%, there's studies that say 69% of people who leave you, customers who leave your business, 69% leave because of perceived indifference. 7 out of 10.
Perceived.
That's right.
Key word.
That's the key word. So 7 out of 10 leave because they just don't think you care.
Wow.
Right? Well, that is both a scary number and for me kind of an inspirational number because I'm like, ooh, well, I can keep 70% of my clients just by letting them know, hey, I appreciate your business.
Right.
Well, the promo is a perfect way to create a quarterly program. You reach
Cost
out,
effective.
and very cost effective. You can reach directly into their lives. A lot of times you don't even have to mail it. Just reach out, shake their hand, thank you so much for your business, and leave a lasting impression on their desk. So it certainly helps with retention. And then I actually, I spent a whole chapter in the book on retention alone. And then repeat business, again, the whole idea is to just try and take those folks that have done business with you in the past, make sure they know that you appreciate them, and then show them ways and remind them how to do business with you again. And certainly promo is a great way to do that. Bunch of different ways to do that.
Right.
And then referrals. The way to create raving fans. Certainly,
Get them talking about you.
that's exactly right. And so, and
Here's a nice social tie-in too.
Yeah, that's exactly. And I tell you, it's funny because that's when you've hit kind of a home run where you do some sort of promo piece, and all of a sudden they're tweeting pictures of your promo piece, or they are tagging you in Facebook of your promo piece or Instagram, whatever, and saying, "Hey, look, I got this awesome thing of swag from."
And out there in the business world, it's happening every day. I'll openly admit I'm a little cynical on the average distributor, and it's only because I want the whole thing to work for everybody.
Right.
I don't get paid off every single widget that's sold, so it's not. I don't take it down to a ridiculous level. But I challenge the distributors out there, those on the audience that's a distributor. I just want to. Are you living life? Like, are you out in the real world? Do you walk through the mall? Do you go to entertainment events? Are you going to community events and watching people do this? Because there is this new genre of people that are, the second they get their swag bag at a 5K, they're posting, tweeting.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that is what we dream of.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So they are doing our marketing for us.
And if you're not aware of this and understanding what you could do to feed that engine,
you're missing a big.
it.
And the thing is the other piece I would piggyback on that is to say to that distributor, are you practicing what you preach? You're telling your clients, hey, you should be doing this. Do you have a plan in place?
Do it with them.
Yeah. Are you doing self promos? Are you putting your own brand out there on a regular basis? Are you a part of that swag bag at the 5K? So you need to practice what you preach as well.
Yeah, I agree. Now, the other question I have, and it's one of your drafts, so I don't know if it is the final.
Okay.
I don't know if it's in the final book. You end with a Dr. Seuss quote.
Yeah.
Did you?
I think so. Yeah.
Did you?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Let's read that quote real quick.
Yeah.
It's in one of your drafts. I didn't know if it made the final edit.
Yeah, there it is.
Okay, let's read that out loud for me.
Okay, so you have brains in your head, you have feet in your shoes, you can steer yourself in any direction you choose. You're on your own, and you know what you know, and you are the guy who will decide where to go.
There you go.
Yeah,
it's a great quote.
Yeah,
Where'd you fall in love with that?
It's funny. That's one of those things. It seems like every year around graduation time, that's the quote that kind of that book, that talks about that comes out, and I think I just came, I came across it on Facebook.
Hey,
yeah, so
I'd like to hear that.
Yeah. So really, it was one of those things where I was getting toward the end of this project, and so many times, one of my favorite quotes in the world is, "The greatest distance in the world is the distance between I know And I do. And I think so many times you read a book, you read a study, whatever, and I found myself doing this, and that's where it really resonated with me, is I was like, oh, I know that, but I'm not doing it. And so I think that's sort of the last piece of the book, is to say, look, okay, for those of you who are reading it going, yeah, I got it, I know, but are you doing it?
Right.
Are you taking action upon these ideas? And I think that's kind of the idea that I wanted to leave it with.
It's a great quote. My famous quote that I love the most, and I don't know it verbatim, and it used to be on my resume when I was young, is Zig Ziglar's famous quote that the more money you help people make, the more money you'll make.
Yeah.
And it's so funny because if you really dissect that and you listen to Zig talk about that, which was where, when I was 15, 16 years old and I knew what I was going to be doing, I didn't know what the vehicle would be, but I knew the message would be the same, was that the underlying moral of that is you don't come first.
Right. Yeah.
And most people don't read through that. They think it's, I want to make more money. They just say, I want to make more money. Well, Chevy trucks really only cost so much, and the chicken food in the backyard is not really that expensive. So it's not about the money. It's about helping people better their lives, and it comes back. So I think all of us are attached to a quote that drives them. When I read that one, I can see, you and that quote go kind of hand in hand, knowing your personality.
Thank you, man.
All right. Anything else you'd want to add?
You know what? I really appreciate you taking the time to sit down with me. I know that we both had to travel a little bit to get here, but appreciate you making it happen, man.
We rendezvoused at my shout out to Hilton Hilton Properties, Hampton Inn here in Streetsboro. There you go, talking about helping them marketing. I'm a Hampton Inn guy, and they always have a boardroom. They've been very accommodating today, so
absolutely
honored. Appreciate it. Congratulations.
Thanks, buddy.
New book, Delivering Marketing Joy. Kirby Hasseman. Two hashtags we're using, right? We've got the hashtag marketing joy. If you've watched this on this interview and many snippets, it's going to be put out there. You can also use the hashtag get social. Very passionate about it. Tie those together. Give us your aha moment. Get the book. Read it. It sounds like you need to be giving it to your end users.
Right.
And again, it's not about, Kirby's very openly said, it's not to promote his company. It's to promote our livelihood, which is a lot of people in the promotional product industry, now $19-20 billion industry. It takes a lot of left hooks. Kirby and I have decided to fight back. So, Delivering Marketing Joy, Dana Zezzo, Senior Vice President at Jetline, Kirby Hasseman Marketing. Thank you, guys. Not bad, huh?
That was great. That was fun.
One take.